Welcome back to another session where we are continuing from the previous video we looked at, and we were saying that optimistic approach has to do with trying to maximize your maximum returns, right? Now we look at the pessimistic, which I am erasing here. Okay, we will refer it to as maximin. Okay, so maximini kind of approach is where you are a pessimist, right? You are a conservative. You try to limit your losses. You don't like loss. Okay, by not liking loss, you are forced to, uh, to be very careful with any investment that exposes you to loss. All right. So, how do you approach this particular investment environment or decision environment? Okay, it's the direct opposite of the other guy. The other guy is an opportunist, just is looking at profit maximization. That's all that is in his mind. This guy is looking at loss minimization. You don't want to make any loss and you want to minimize your barest loss. Okay, now because you are a pessimist and you want to reduce your losses, so your focus or your attention will go on the losses. Okay, let's go to the losses or to the minimum payoffs. Okay, so the minimum payoffs are in the unfavorable market. Okay, where the market is low here, right? So here the market is low, so you pick again. You pick, yeah, so pick the lowest in each investment alternative. So in each alternative, you select the lowest. As we had selected the highest in each investment on the other on the other question. So we take 9 to be the lowest under investment A, and 12 to be the lowest under investment B, and negative 18 to be the lowest under investment C. So after you have selected the lowest in each investment, and that is your minimum here. That is what, so we when you say mini, you first consider that mini, you get the minimum. Okay. Then after selecting the minimum in this particular sense, then get the maximum of your minimums. Okay. Now you have looked at your lower figures. These are your barest minimum payoffs. And because you have looked at your barest minimum payoffs, you get the highest of your minimum payoffs. So in this case, the highest return amongst the minimums is 9. So you opt for investment. No, I mean 12. Sorry, I didn't see that. Apologies. Yeah, 12. So investment B is what is um, you would go for as a pessimist, right? Or as a conservative kind of a decision maker. Okay, you want to safeguard yourself from losses. Okay, and you want to get the best of your lower figures. Okay, so that is the principle. Now, um, I also wanted to mention, we said the minimum, the mini here we got was for getting the lower values first of all. Then maxi here on the other end is because now you are maximizing these minimums. So basically maximini is maximizing your minimum return. So we have maximized with a 12 our minimum returns, right? These were our maximum returns, right? These are our minimum returns. But they could be jumbled, as I've just put them in a in an orderly manner, but sometimes they may be jumbled. So you need to identify for each investment which one is your highest and which one is your lowest, right? Okay. So we go to minimum, to your regret, or minimax. Okay, which is the third kind of approach when it comes to decision making, right? So minimax, what's about minimax? Okay, so minimax, which is regret approach, sometimes called as a regret approach. Now, here you want to minimize your regret. Now, regret, you know that regret is actually similar to opportunity cost, right? Or opportunity loss. So in your microeconomics, you looked at opportunity cost, and basically that is your next best decision alternative, right? Um, Now, what are we saying here? Is you need to consider how much would I have uh, lost if I invested in this particular decision? How much would I have regretted if I had invested in this decision? How much would I have lost if I invested in this decision? Then after you determine all the losses, all your regrets you would have made, had you not gone for the best of the alternatives, um, then that particular you get your minimum of those. Okay, let's give an example to make it very sensible. So first of all, identify the highest, and these are the rules. Identify the highest in each of the your decision alternatives. So we have three decision alternatives: A, B, and C. What is our highest in decision alternative A? It is 25, right? So you pick 25. So if you went for decision A, if we are saying if the market was favorable, right? If the market was favorable and you went for for the high market, right? Uh, Under decision A, right? In a decision alternative A. Sorry, I'm mumbling now. Yeah. So what I was saying is, if you go under decision A and it is a high market, what regret will you have? So you basically have 25 minus 25. So there's no basic loss that you have there. It is zero, isn't it? What if you went for A, but it ended up being a poor market? Okay. So now what you were actually aiming for is 25. But what did you find? You found a poor market, which is 9. And what is that? That should be 16, isn't it? So your regret is 16. You have lost out 16 because of finding yourself in a poor market. Because had you gone in the high market, or had you found yourself in the higher market, you'd have made 25. So your regret, your level of regret there is 16. What about option B? Option B, the highest is 30. That is the highest you are likely to get. That is your maximum. All right. So if at all you find yourself in the high market, meaning this is what you were supposed to get, the 30,000. So what are you regretting? Your regret is zero because you found what you wanted to find, or the highest that you could possibly find. All right, you found the highest you could possibly find. So you are not regretting. But what if you find yourself in a poor market, which is 30 minus 12? So the highest in that market is 30, but you found yourself in a poor market which gave you a 12. What then do you have? It's 18, isn't it? Yeah. Um, so your regret there is 18. All right. What about if we go for decision alternative C? What are you getting? Okay, your highest there is 50. Your highest is 50. But what is your then less what you actually found? Okay, you found negative 18. Okay, so you were aiming for that profit of 50, but you ended up getting a loss of 18. All right, what would be your regret there? Your regret, you know that negative times negative will give us a positive, so you have 50 plus 18, which is 68, isn't it? All right. um Now these are your regrets. Okay, so starting from the first one, you have zero regret, or 16 as a regret. You have 0 or 18 as a regret. This one, if you end up finding yourself in a high market, you will not regret. So it's 0 or 68, right? Now, after you have put these down, if you want, you can put them in a table, which is called the regret table. Okay, which is called the regret table. We have A, B, C. Then you have low, high. Okay, so what we're saying, let's replace the figures that we are finding. Under low, we found 16. High, it was 0. It was 0. Anyway, these guys are going to be zeros. Look at what I'm doing. So I need to put these guys here on the to correspond, for them to correspond with so we have under low you had 16, you had 18, you had 68. You have 0, 0, 0. So basically you have put, this is called the regret table, right? You are just replacing the values in this same table. You are just replacing, like here you had 25 minus 25, right? Here you had 30 minus 30. Here you had 50 minus 50. Okay, now here you had 50 minus negative 18. Oopsie. Right, let me extend the table. Negative 18 here. All right. Then here you had 30 minus 12, right? Sorry, they are not visible, but yeah, I'm sure I'm very audible. So that is how we created that particular table. Yeah. Now from here, because you want to minimize your regrets, you don't want to regret. Nobody wants to regret. Whatever decision we make, we hope that it is going to be the best. So because we are in the hope that it's going to be the best, we want to minimize our regret. So in this case, which option would you go for? Get your maximum. So in each table, select your maximum regret. So under A, you have 16 as your maximum regret. Under B, you have 18 as your maximum regret. Under C, you have 68 as your maximum regret. Amongst the maximum regrets, get the minimum. So minimize your regret now, which will give you 16, right? It will give you 16. This will be your minimum. So if you are a guy that doesn't love to regret, you would go for option A. Now you've seen how based of your each different approach, it will lead you to a different investment or to a different decision. If you are an optimistic, you would go for C. If you are a pessimist, you would go for B. But if you are a guy that doesn't love regrets, you would go for A. So each of these will give you a different decision answer. Okay, so in each, sometimes you might arrive in the same decision based off how the question is phrased, but in most cases you'd flip around different decision alternatives because of different approaches. So in the next video, our focus is going to be on the Laplace and the criterion of realism, or which is called the Howicks criterion. Okay, so we're going to look at those two in the next video. All right.